reconnecting. There we go. All right, we're good.
All right, we all ready to go?
Yes.
Yep.
All right. Well, thank you guys for coming. I really appreciate it. My name is Stephen Vallejo. I'm a mortgage advisor, been one for the last 28 years. My company is Patriot Pacific Finance, and we are a mostly all VA lender. Okay. So what my company does, we work very closely with the military. What we do is we travel the United States and we educate veterans, active service members, and also realtors on the VA home loan benefit. So the VA home loan benefit is one of the best loan programs out there. Okay, hands down. The information that we're about to give to you guys today, I'm hoping one tidbit of information could help change somebody's life. Okay. So what we're going to do here is we're going to start by understanding the VA home loan benefit. Okay. And first thing we're going to talk about is we're going to talk about this gentleman right here. Okay. So this gentleman right here is, I believe he was 93 years old when he bought his first home. Okay. So my colleague there, my broker Charles, and did the transaction for him. He pretty much qualified for the most part of his life. He was 100% service connected. So he was getting at least 4,000 there. Another 2,000 from Social Security pension. So he was totally qualified. Got him into the property. Seller paid for I think it was all the closing costs. So he literally walked in with nothing out of his pocket. Okay, so if you read what it says right there, when my colleague asked him, and this is something that hit me very hard, and what drove me to do what I do here. Not only that, I'm not a veteran, my dad is, and because of my dad being a veteran, I was able to join the American Legion, the Sons of the Legion. Okay, so I work with them as well. But when my colleague asked him, why did you wait so long? He said, son, nobody ever showed me how. Okay. So I thank each and every one of you guys for being here. Thank you for your service. It really means a lot to me. I do a lot of events and I love what I do, but it gets very exhausting talking to one person at a time. So I'm so happy that I can have 15, 20, 30 people to talk to at one time so I can give you guys this valuable information. Okay, so it's never too late. And it's never too early. Okay, so this gentleman right here, because of my affiliation with the Sons of American Legion, they allow us to go on to Camp Pendleton. So every Thanksgiving, the Monday before Thanksgiving, what we do when it gets close to that time is we raise money, we get turkeys with all the trimmings, and we pass them out to the soldiers that are there. Okay, so I'm passing out turkeys and I'm passing out business cards and I'm educating. Okay. And I happened to talk to Brandon. He was there. We gave him a turkey, and he came up to me. He says, we're looking to purchase a home. So what I did is I set up an appointment with him. I did it was called a dry run appointment. Okay, which I'm going to offer to you guys as well. So what a
Real
dry
quick, sorry, are you sharing your screen? Because I don't see it. Do you guys see his screen, by the way? Barbara, do you see his screen? Okay, I gotta find it. I don't know where it went. It just. Oh, I found it.
You got it?
It was on. Yeah, it was on another tab. I was so confused.
Okay.
You're good.
Okay. So I did what's called a dry run with Brandon and his wife. Okay, and what a dry run is we gather just enough information without having to run a credit check to preserve your credit scores to give you an idea what it looks like. So what we did with him is we ended up getting them a home, $1 million home out in Fallbrook, California. Okay, and seller paid. I think the total closing cost was about 23,000, and seller paid for all the closing costs on this transaction. Okay, so he literally walked in with nothing out of his pocket. Him and his wife actually had a good plan. There was an ADU in the back. They moved into the ADU in the back. They rented the front part, and they were basically having the tenant pay for the majority of their rent. Okay, so there's lots of things that you can do with your VA home loan benefit, but you don't know what you don't know. So it's very good to have this information. Now, after today, if you get up to your 90s and you haven't bought a home, it's not like you weren't educated. Okay, we want to make sure that you have this information. And I'm going to offer a dry run to each and every one of you guys. Everybody that's on this call, I suggest whether you're ready to buy a house or not, go through the process. Okay, it's not a waste of my time. It takes about maybe 25 to 30 minutes, but I can gather that information and I have enough experience being in the business 28 years. I can tell you kind of what you guys would qualify for. So the agenda today, it's going to be introduction to the VA home loan. What is a VA home loan? Key benefits of the VA home loan, eligibility requirements, how to apply for a VA home loan, understanding your COE, which is your certification of eligibility, VA loan limitations, which they made a change to that, so we got some really good information on that. Why VA loans are a valuable benefit. And again, going back to what I said earlier, VA home loan is hands down one of the best loan programs out there. Even living in California where prices are a little high, I'm going to tell you why it's an easier pill to swallow with the VA home loan benefit. Why you should work with a real estate agent that's experienced in VA home loans. Okay, so we have Leo here. He's the my preferred real estate agent that works with veterans. So he'll be able to help you. But there's benefits that come along with dealing with somebody that is experienced in this. Common misconceptions about the VA home loan. Okay, there's a lot of misconceptions. There's a lot of misinformation. There's a lot of no information. Okay, we're going to clear that up today. We're gonna have a conclusion and then we're gonna have questions and additional resources. Okay. So at any time you guys have a question, I have my chat open. Raise your hand. I'll stop what I'm doing and we'll answer your question. Introduction to the VA home loans. So the overview of the VA home loans and their purposes. So VA home loans are mortgages backed by the U.S. Department of Veterans Affairs. Which is a VA, to help veterans, active duty service members, and certain members of the National Guard and Reserves to purchase homes. These loans help make home ownership possible for those who served our country. Importance of the VA home loan for veterans. So VA home loans provide significant financial advantages, allowing veterans to secure housing with favorable terms. And I'll stress the word favorable, okay? Promoting stability and well-being after your military service. Statistics on the VA home loan usage amongst veterans. So as of 2023, over 25 million VA loans have been issued since the program began in 1944. So underscoring the program's popularity and effectiveness in helping veterans achieve home ownership. So what is a VA home loan? Okay, so a VA home loan is a mortgage that is guaranteed by the VA. So one of the reasons why we have it's such a major benefit is because the VA doesn't lend. The VA guarantees. That's why there's no private mortgage insurance. We'll get to that in just a moment. But remember, they do not lend, they guarantee. Okay, allowing veterans and service members to obtain favorable, and again, stressing that word, favorable loan terms without needing a down payment. So the types of VA home loans that are available is going to be for your purchase loan. There's going to be some major refinance benefits, okay? And again, we're going to come back to that word favorable. And adapted housing. So purchase loans used to buy homes, okay? Refinance loans used to replace their existing mortgages with better rates or terms. Adapted housing loans available for veterans with service-connected disabilities for modified homes. Comparison with their cousins, the conventional loans. Okay, so there's actually no comparison. So with your VA home loan benefit, of course, you got your 0% down. Okay, with the 0% down, interest rates are about 0.5% less than their cousins, the conventional. So one of the major benefits here is, unlike the conventional loans, VA does not require private mortgage insurance. Okay, so if I stopped at those three benefits right there, okay, no down payment, interest rates are about 0.5% less than conventional rates, and no PMI. If I just stopped and I left this webinar with those three benefits, you guys are winning. Okay, so and again, right here, typically with better interest rates. Eligibility, service members, veterans, and surviving spouses who meet the service requirements. So let's talk about the surviving spouse, okay? So we were taking an application on a widow, Okay, we're going to do an FHA program for her. So she was actually coming in with 3.5% down on a, I think it was $500,000 home. I think it was 15,500. Closing costs were going to be about another 13,000. So when it came to the question that I always ask everybody, have you ever served in the military? She says no, but my husband did. So what we did is we actually pulled his certification of eligibility, and it found out that she actually qualified for all of his benefits because she never remarried. So instead of coming in with, I think it was over $30,000, we were able to use her VA benefits, his VA benefits, 0% down. The payment was about $350 less because she'd have to pay for the PMI. The rate was about 0.5% less. And instead of coming in with that 30,000, she only came in with just the closing costs, which the seller paid for it. So she literally walked in with nothing out of her pocket. So if you're married and your the veteran passes on, then the surviving spouse has these benefits. So let's come to the VA Earl. So this is one of my favorite benefits that come along with this loan. It's a lifetime benefit, never ever goes away. It's VA IRRRL. That's India, Romeo, 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 Lima. It stands for Interest Rate Reduction Refinance Loan. So this benefit kicks in every 210 days only if there's a more advancing or a more valuable loan for you. If so, then the VA will step in and allow you to streamline your loan with no out-of-pocket expense, no appraisal needed, and no income documentation required. The only two requirements is number one, that you've made your payments on time for the last 210 days, which comes out to about 7 months. And then the second requirement is you have to recoup your closing costs within 36 months. So the VA has a net tangible benefit formula that they use. And if you do not pass that net tangible formula, a benefit formula with VA, it's a hard no. So they want to make sure that they're not adding thousands and thousands of dollars towards the back of the loan. So the reason why I'm telling you about this benefit right now, because this benefit is going to be very, very beneficial for you when you purchase your home, especially in a high interest rate market that we're in now. So just to give you an example of what I just did for a client that we got into a home 210 days ago. Interest rate was 6.5. Okay. So got them into the property, seller paid for all the closing costs. And after 210 days, I kept in touch with them once a month. We watched the 210 days for them. We also put them on our rate alert. So this rate, in order for it to be a benefit of the VA, has to drop just 0.5%. So if that dropped from 6.5 to 5%, then it's a benefit. But in this case, they dropped a whole point from 6.5 to 5.5. So what that did for that veteran is we actually lowered the interest rate, we lowered the payment. They had one guaranteed payment that they got to keep and enjoy. So the payment was, I don't know, it was like $6,000 on $870,000, 6,600. Lowered the payments down to about 6,000. So we saved them about $600 a month. They got to keep two payments, and they got an escrow refund. So they got close to $18,000 with this one transaction. Now they were a younger couple. There's no penalty on the loan. So what I showed them is since there's no penalty, they can actually make the same payment that they were paying at 6.5. And now that money is going to go towards principal. So instead of recasting to a 30-year loan, they're actually paying their house off, I believe it was in 25 years and 6 months, saving them over $170,000 on interest. So the beauty of this is in another 210 days, if the rate drops from 5.5 to 5, then we can repeat the process. Okay. Now I can keep doing it till I can't drop the rate anymore. Okay. So that's one of the major benefits. So again, with this transaction right here, there's no appraisal needed. So we don't have, to spend money on appraisal. There's no out-of-pocket expense. There's no income documentation required. The VA stating, well, if you can make your payments at 6.5, well, if we drop it down to 5 or 5.5, then it's going to be more money for you. So that was a great transaction. So one of the best loan programs, benefits that come along with this program. Key benefits of the VA home loan, of course, there's with the purchase, there's going to be no down payment. Okay, so veterans can finance up to 100% of their home's purchase price, making home ownership accessible without the barrier of substantial initial down payment. Okay, so this is what I mean by it's an easier pill to swallow, even living in California and even with the rates where they're at. So having to have no down payment. And the second one right here you're looking at is no private mortgage insurance. Private mortgage insurance can run anywhere between 175 to up to $400 or $500 depending on the loan size. Okay, and that's private mortgage insurance is for anybody putting less than 20% down on a civilian loan. So if you're at 18%, you're going to have a mortgage insurance or PMI. So again, with not having to put a down payment, rates being about 0.5% less than conventional, and no PMI, it is an easier pill to swallow. Again, there's those competitive rates. Again, we're speaking about favorable terms, no down payment, no mortgage insurance, competitive interest rate, flexible credit requirements. Now, this is where the VA really flexes, okay? Because unlike a conventional loan, we're probably, I don't know, 680. Anything below that, we're going to go into an FHA program. Okay. Now, VA is more flexible with their credit and debt to income ratio guidelines. So we can go down as low as 580, and the VA will help you get into a home. Okay. As long as we have a strong letter of explanation, then it makes sense. They do common sense underwriting. Now, if we have anything below the 580, then remember the VA doesn't lend. The VA doesn't have credit restrictions. Remember, they guarantee. So we just have to find a lender that has a lower credit restrictions on it. And then worst case scenario, we got Calvet. Calvet, you don't need a credit score for that. The next one we have here is going to be your lifetime benefits. Okay, so these are lifetime benefits. They never go away. They're available for you, especially the VA IRRRL. Before we go any further, anybody have any questions so far? Raise your hand if you guys have any questions. Okay, let's go to the eligibility requirements. Okay, so for veterans, those who served in the United States military and meet the length of service requirements. Active duty members, those currently serving in the United States Armed Force, National Guards, and reservists. Service members who have served for a specific period of time. We'll get to that in just a moment. And then again, we're going to go back to the surviving spouse. So the spouse of a deceased veteran if the death was service related. So the length of service. So these are going to be the guidelines. So a veteran must have served typically 90 consecutive days of active service during wartime or 181 days of service during peacetime. Now let's get to the National Guard. So the National Guard members need to have served and completed 6 years or been activated for federal service. Okay, so we can all get all that information from your certification of eligibility. And of course, your discharge status considerations. Veterans must have received an honorable discharge or a discharge under conditions other than dishonorable to qualify for a VA home loan. Okay, let me see. I've got a question here. Is it true that funding fees are waived for? Yes, absolutely. So let's talk about that for a second. So do we have any veterans that are at 10% or more service connected? If so, put it in the chat. Okay. So the VA funding fee, got it, 50%. Okay. So the VA funding fee, that's going to probably be about the only caveat of the VA home loan. Okay. So when we're doing an application, what I always do, and when I do the dry run with you guys, what I do is I'm writing information down as I'm taking the application. I come to a point where I put my pen down and I want to thank you guys for your service. I want to acknowledge and thank you guys for your service. And on that note, I'll ask you, are you more than 10% service connected? Okay. Now, the reason why I ask that is because we have a veteran that's active military. If we're active military, then you wouldn't have disability rating. Okay. However, if you are retired and you're at 10% or more, then they'll waive the funding fee. So the VA funding fee, if you're under 10%, is going to be 2.15% of the purchase price. You don't pay for that out of pocket, it gets added to the loan. So just to give you an example of, let's say, a $500,000 home times 2.15%, let's be around $10,000. Okay. Now, I've had veterans where they were going through the process of getting rated. Okay. And they paid for the VA funding fee, and shortly after they got awarded their 10% or 20%, they called me and said, hey, the VA reimbursed me back for my VA funding fee. So I've already had several veterans call me back for that. Okay. Okay, so give me a second here. There we go. Okay, so step-by-step application process. Check your eligibility. Okay, so to verify your eligibility for a VA loan by obtaining a certification of eligibility, that's the first thing. Okay, I can help you with that. Okay, I'm directly linked up with the VA. I have passwords for the VA portal. For your certification of eligibility, all I need is the year you were born and your social security. As long as I have that information, then it'll tell me, it'll show me your certification of eligibility. Even if you had a foreclosure in the past with the VA, there's a formula that we could use that we can still get you eligible for your VA home loan. Okay. Next step is finding a VA approved lender. Okay. So that would be me. Okay. Or somebody like me. So let's stop it. Let's talk about that really quick on why it's important that you deal with a professional that is proficient in VA loans. Okay. So we do have a lot of veterans that have PTSD. They have a very short patience span and they want to deal with somebody that knows what they're doing. Okay. So if we have a loan officer that does conventional and FHA, and every once in a while they'll get a veteran, a VA loan, they have the support for it, but there's going to be a lot of information, for instance, that realtors don't know. There's a term called tidewater. Okay, now if you get a loan officer who doesn't know what the word tidewater means, it could be detrimental to your loan. So tidewater means that when your veteran's buying a home for a certain price, say 500,000 or 600,000, and the appraiser is having a problem coming up with the value, he'll yell tidewater. So what that means is you got 48 hours to come up with comparables to justify the value that they're looking for. Okay. Now, if you get a loan officer who doesn't know what the word tidewater is, you lose that 48 hours, and then now you got to go and purchase a home that's undervalued. Okay. So working with a VA lender who participates in the VA home loan program. So again, my company is Patriot Pacific Finance. 90% of the paper that comes through us is going to be VA. Working with a veteran-friendly real estate agent, okay? Partnering with an agent who understands the unique needs of veterans can make home buying process smoother and more efficient, okay? Now, there's certain things, this is why we have Leo Luna here, who's going to speak in just a moment, but it's very important because he knows what the VA is looking for. So if he's taking you out looking for homes, and sees that, we go through a property that you like and there's holes in the wall or the windows are broken, VA doesn't want you to buy a fixer-upper. We cannot buy a fixer-upper, okay? The property has to be in living condition. They don't want the veteran going out there buying a home and having to spend money on purchasing, getting the property up to par. Okay, so it's very important to deal with somebody like Leo because Leo's going to, not waste time on properties that, don't suit the VA or the veteran. Experienced agents who know how to navigate the VA loans specifics, understanding the benefits and limitations, and guide you in finding the property that qualifies. Step 4 would be applying for the loan. Okay. So there's going to be a time during this call. I want you guys to schedule a dry run with me. Okay. So applying for the loan, I can take care of that through the dry run. Okay. The dry run is going to tell us, give us a good idea of if this is possible or not. So usually when I do a dry run with a veteran, because of all the, not knowing, you don't know what you don't know, I get one of two reactions. One is, okay, well that's great. Now I know that, maybe I need to bring my credit scores up, or maybe I need to get a little bit more income. Or the second response is, I didn't know it was this easy. Let's go. Where do we go? So applying for the loan, which I can give you all the tools and send you out the links for that. Submit the required documents to your lender, okay, which would be your identification, W-2s for the last 2 years, paycheck stubs, bank statements, retirement statements. Very important if you're service connected, like I seen a lot of you guys are. We're gonna need your VA award letter, okay. So we'll need all that information to verify your income. And just so you know, with your VA, who knows that it's not taxed, okay? So the good thing about that it not being taxed is that we can gross it up another 25% to qualify for a VA home loan, okay? So those of you that are at 100%, let's just call it $4,000, okay? And if I put another 25% on that, that's another $1,000. So now that $4,000 turned into $5,000 that we can use to qualify for the VA home loan, okay? The step number 5 is going to be close on your loan. So once approved, sign the necessary paperwork and you are ready to move into your new home. Okay, so the necessary documents would be the COE. I can help you out with that. Income verification, you guys would be able to get that information to me. The proof of income, pay stubs, tax returns, W-2s, and other financial information along with the personal identification. Let's see, I got a question here. If I'm locked in a rental, oh, that's a good one right there. Till November, are there any strategies or plans to purchase yes. Actually, we just closed a loan for a veteran. This is wonderful. It must have been about 2 weeks ago. It was a veteran and his active service wife. She's in the Navy. And during this process, she got deployed. So we still were able to do the loan. We had to get a specific power of attorney. We got it approved by the lender. The VA approved it. And then she went off to her deployment. And what we did for this veteran here is with the VA, you can get up to 4% salary concession. Okay. So what we did for them is, believe it was a $870,000 home, $45,000 in seller concessions. Of that 45,000, about 15 to 17,000 of that went to their closing costs. There was another portion of that that went towards their buy down. Okay, so it was a jumbo loan. The start rate on that was 6.125. We got them down to a 4.125 for the first year. Second year, it would have went to 5.125, and the following year would be 6.125. But there was a cost for that, but the seller paid for that. We had an extra $10,000 left over. Okay, in this case, we didn't have to buy out the lease, but you could use that money to buy your lease out. In this case, we used that $10,000 to pay the veteran's debt. He had a $13,000 credit card. We put $10,000 on that. So that's the strategy that we would use for that. So that's a really, really good question. Keep the questions coming. Okay. Okay. So the certification of eligibility. What is the certification of eligibility and why is it important? So the certification of eligibility, COE, is a document that proves a veteran's eligibility for a VA home loan, indicating their entitlement and ensuring that they receive the benefits that they've earned. How to obtain the COE? You guys can go on to the VA portal. You guys can get that yourselves. But again, I want to make this as less painful for you as possible. I can take care of that for you. Okay, it's pretty simple. Again, I just need your social and the not your whole date of birth, just the year you were born. Common myths about your COE. Many veterans believe that they need perfect credit to obtain a COE. Not true. It has nothing to do with credit. Or that it's a lengthy process. Again, I can get it in a minute. Okay. COE process is accessible and efficient, designed to assist veterans quickly. So I can take care of that. It's not a big deal. VA loan limitations. Okay, they did have loan limitations, but they lifted those loan limitations. So now it just comes out to what you can afford. Okay, so if you can afford a $2 million home, then the VA will honor that. Okay, because you have the income to qualify for that. We just closed a $1.5 million a VA purchase in Orange County. Okay, so it's not just two, three, four, $500,000 loans. The sky's the limit when it comes to that, as long as you guys can afford that. And one thing I do want to mention, I want to get back to the flexible guidelines. Okay, so also what I forgot to mention in regards to the credit, at no credit restrictions on that, is the debt to income ratio. Okay, so what the debt to income ratio is the money coming in that you get from your job versus the money going out, which would be your mortgage, which would be your credit cards, car payments, and all those expenses. So if you're a civilian, if you're doing a conventional loan, we're going to be maxed out at 50%. If we're using an FHA, we can go to 55%. Now, the VA has a different way using residual income to go past that. So we can go um, 60%, 70%. In some cases, we've seen it all the way up to 80%. Okay, let's see. We've got a question here. If you have income to cover the monthly payment, but have a high debt to income ratio, are there strategies that can put the debt in? Well, yeah. Well, I just answered that question right there. That has to do with their higher debt to income ratio calculation. So it works with your residual income. So if we have enough residual income, then you can go higher on the debt to income ratio. Okay. Let's talk about the VA funding fee. I kind of mentioned that a little bit earlier. That's probably the only caveat of the VA home loan. Anybody that's under the 10% would have to pay for the VA funding fee. Anybody that's 10% or higher, it gets waived. Okay. Why a VA loan or valuable benefit? Okay. So one of the other benefits that you're going to have is going to be your refinance benefits. Okay. Now your refinance benefits, if you're a civilian, you're going to be capped out. Say you owned your home for 2 or 3 years, you got a little equity in the property, and you want to pull some cash out to pay some bills or do some home improvements. If you're a civilian, you're going to be capped out at 80%. Anything over 80% that you cash out, there comes that pesky mortgage insurance. So the VA will allow you to go to 85% with no mortgage insurance. If you want to refinance and pull out 90%, you can pull out 90%, still no mortgage insurance, still favorable rates. You can pull up to 95%, no mortgage insurance, still favorable rates. And in some cases, if we're paying off a lot of debt, the VA will allow you to tap into 100% of your property's value to refinance. Okay, unheard of with any other loan. Okay, so getting back to these benefits right here, why the VA home loan are valuable benefits. Home ownership advantage. VA loans make it easier for veterans to become homeowners with very few financial barriers. Long-term financial stability with competitive rates, no PMI, veterans save money over the life of their loan. Again, that's very huge. We're going back to the word favorable. Specializing support. So veterans receiving guidance from knowledgeable lenders who specialize in VA home loan benefits. So I want to stop at that for a second. Now, most loan officers will do business with you one time and never call you back again. Okay, I want a long-lasting business relationship with you guys. So I don't want to just get you in the home and never call you back again. I want to be able to service you. I want to be able to, if you have any questions, I want to create raving fans. I want this experience to be so good for you that when you guys are at a barbecue and you're telling them about your house and somebody wants to buy a home, I want my name to come out of your subconscious mind and say, you know what, talk to Steve Vallejo. He's very knowledgeable. He helped me get into my home. Okay. So I have a program called the Loyalty Program. Okay. So the Loyalty Program is not only when we get you into the property, but you're going to get a call from me once a month. Okay. We're going to send you free home value estimators so you can see what your property value is doing. Any new neighbors that come in the area that buy, you'll know what they've bought for. I'm going to put you on our rate alert. Make sure that we track the rate for you. I'm going to track your 210 days for you. Now, when another opportunity comes, whether it be to buy another home or to refinance with the VA IRRRL or do a cash out refinance, Because you did business with me one time already, I have most of that information. I got that relationship. You know how I work. And if you decide to do business with me again, there's going to be discounts you're going to get from me that you can't get anywhere else. Okay. So I want to make sure that I take care of you guys. Through the process, I have a communication guarantee. So with the communication guarantee means that you're going to get a call from me, an email from me, or a text message from me, or my assistant. And if you do not get a call from me, a text from me, or a email from me within 1 week, then I owe you $100. Okay. So I pride myself on making sure that you're updated through the entire process. Okay, so let's talk about these two brothers right here. Okay, so what I do is I get invited to a March Air Force Base. It's called U.S. Vets. So what it is, I'm sorry, anybody have a question? No?
I think it was an accidental unmute.
Okay,
I'll
got
go
it.
to mute.
Okay, so I get invited to March Air Force Base. They have a facility there called U.S. Vets. So what they do is they get veterans from the street, underneath bridges. They bring them in. They clean them up. We do. They do resumes for them. They have job fairs for them. They have veteran-owned companies that go out there and we do the job fairs for them. And these two brothers came to the job fair. They're both Marines, both retired Marines. They were going to school at the time. They had no job. Okay. You see, they have no job, but you see them standing in front of a home with a sold sign. So these two veterans were both 100% service connected. So they were both bringing in close to about $8,000 a month. They had very modest credit card payments, a modest car payment, and what they did is we did a dry run with them, okay? And we actually got them qualified. That this picture was taken in April of 2025. By July of 2025, they got into their first home. Okay, 0% down. They used a little bit of money from their TSP, so you guys can use your TSP to pull some money out. You use it as a loan against the TSP to, if, for some reason, if the seller's not willing to pay for all the closing costs and you need to bring some money in, you can tap into that. They used a little bit of their TSP. It was a 5-bedroom home in Riverside. They actually rented out 2 of the rooms to a couple of their buddies, and we got them into their first home. Okay. So what I want you guys to do here, um, this is going to be your call to action. We're not done yet, but if you see this calendar right here, I want you guys to click on there, schedule an appointment with me, so that way we could do the VA, the dry run for you. Okay. Whether you guys are ready to buy a house or not, click on the link, call me. It'll be the best 30 minutes of it'll be well worth it for you guys because again, this is life changing. Okay. These guys went from, renting, looking for a job. They were in school and we actually got them into their home. Okay. They actually were receiving basic housing allowance. We couldn't use that as income because they weren't active. But if we have any active service members on the line, that first gentleman that we with his wife, he was active, and we were able to use his salary he got from his LES, and we're able to use his BAH. Okay, or basic housing allowance to qualify along with his wife. Okay, so you guys go in there, click on that calendar link, schedule an appointment with me, go through the process again, whether you're ready to buy a house or not. That's going to be your call to action. Okay. Okay, now why is it important to have an experienced real estate agent? Okay, part one. So I have my realtor partner. This is Leo Luna. Okay, so he's going to talk a little bit about the value that he's going to get in working with him.
Yeah, thank you, Stephen. A lot of great information there. There was one little comment that got like skipped through the questions. It said, "Do you work with a program called Home for Heroes?" Real quick, just want to kind of clarify that piece because I have seen Home for Heroes on Facebook ads and things like that. Um, we do work with a program called Cal Hero. You want to mention that real quick before we talk about this, just to answer
Yeah,
that question?
yeah. Yeah, so yeah, we have a program. The Homes for Heroes, that's a little bit different. It's more of a lead generating website. But we have another program. We also work with, again, we work very closely with the military. We work closely with law enforcement. We look with firefighters, educators, correctional officers, nurses, first responders. So that program right there, if you guys, if any of you guys are part of that, military does count. So there's going to be some perks to that. So we'll go through the um, dry run, and I'll explain how that works.
Perfect. Thanks, Steven. All right. So yeah, why you should work with a real estate agent, at least an experienced one in VA loans, because you just don't want to get any old agent off the street. Um, Definitely want to understand the VA loan guidelines. You know, they do have a handbook, which I'll actually share right here. It's a big, nice block of handbooks. I'll go ahead and share it in with the link, and I also shared Steven's calendar link so you can book a dry run. But going here, this is the VA buyer's guide when it comes to loan guidelines or just housing guidelines for what they look for. So yeah, you definitely want to have a real estate agent with the experience in VA loans to know the ins and outs of the program, mainly knowing specific property requirements because they really care about the condition of the home. Like Stephen had said, you know, they don't want you to have a fixer upper. You know, it comes down to safety and security in the home and can make sure that you're looking at the right home so you're not wasting anyone's time. Navigating VA specific challenges. You know, some homes may require certain repairs and adjustments to qualify. So that comes in the repair request. And, you know, if you don't have an agent that is able to have those conversations and kind of strategize on your offer and what's going to come down the road, you're definitely going to be having a lot of red flags pop up and surprises. So an agent familiar with those VA guidelines can help you identify these issues early on and can help make the process smoother. So there's no surprises, and also maximizing your benefits. So a veteran friendly agents can also help you understand the full scope of your VA loan benefits, such as the no down payment, lower interest rates, no PMI, and making sure that we maximize your savings. You know, like getting anything, you know, asking for those seller concessions. That's a big part. And right now in the market, you need an agent that's going to navigate that fully because you don't want to have, I mean, picking the wrong agent can cost you tens of thousands of dollars without having the proper strategy involved. You want to go ahead and go to the next slide for part two, Stephen, real quick. Yeah. So here's a part two. This is kind of where I feel like I excel is just negotiation skills with the VA in mind. So agents experience with VA loans are going to know how to negotiate with the sellers to ensure the terms work for you, such as covering closing costs and addressing necessary repairs to meet the VA standards. That's a big thing. And homes that I've closed on, you know, we've been able to get a lot of upfront seller concessions. You know, I've had 2-1 buy downs. I've also had, you know, rents paid for, and things like that to break lease. And it's one of those things that if you're not strategizing correctly, you're going to leave a lot of money on the table. And really, the main thing is support throughout the process. You know, so an experienced agent is going to be able to be a great resource for answering any questions you have, providing that peace of mind, making sure that we're going to guide you every step of the way from the initial search to the final paperwork. So that way we ensure a smooth and successful closing. So yeah, I definitely spent a lot of time learning the process and working alongside VA focused lending professionals. And that's why I partner with Steven because I really understand how valuable this benefit is and how much you've earned. And you know, like I'll say it once again, or I haven't said it yet, but thank you for your service. So my role is just making sure that you feel informed, supported, and just confident throughout the process. You know, whether that means helping you understand the market, you know, where the trends are going. Right now, we're in a buyer's market where buyers are able to get those closing costs, but we don't know how it's going to go. And you have a lot of leverage with the VA Earl. You know, even though your interest rate might look a little higher, once you get that relief in interest rates, once all this gets figured out with you know, energy, we do see rates going down substantially. I mean, just look at gas going down this week. So making sure that we structure competitive offers and just being available when questions come up. You know, you really want someone that you can just lean on to help you through this process. So that's definitely what I'm here for, is to make sure that we accomplish the goal of you getting into your home and really making sure that we're not wasting time, but we're also being efficient with our time and we're showing you the right properties because it comes down to safety and ensuring that that you don't have to do any repairs, like holes in the walls, paint issues, and even the recent updates that we had. There's even new updates that happened in 2026 with VA standards. So thank you, Stephen.
All right. And yeah, and guys, right now it is a strong buyer's market right now. So as a loan officer's point of view, especially working in VA, we're seeing where the sellers are paying for some or most for all the closing costs. And our goal is it's not guaranteed. It's just the market that we're in. Our goal is just is to get you coming with nothing out of your pocket. Okay. There are closing costs that are involved, but again, right now it's only people that are selling right now are people that have to sell, which is 4Ds: death, divorce, diapers, and disparity. So if we happen to put an offer in on somebody that's, again, we don't wish that on anybody, but it's just a part of life. But if we put an offer in on somebody that is going through a divorce, they want to get done with that chapter of their life as soon as possible. So speed is going to be the key to getting that offer accepted. And one strong thing, value that we bring to this is going to be speed. Okay. Now our company is closing on the average of 3 to 5 days sooner than the close of escrow. For a realtor, that's going to be very attractive. Okay. Now, if you put in an offer on somebody that's going through divorce, say, you know what, I want to go ahead and purchase that property. Now, again, you have a better chance of getting that offer accepted because we are in a buyer's market. Okay, so that means there's less competition out there. There's a lot of fear out there with interest rates and the war and everything. But when you put your offer in, you're not dealing with all that. Okay, not dealing with all that competition because it's a buyer's market. We're not in a seller's market. But once the interest rates drop, it's going to turn from a buyer's market to a seller's market. Okay. So our goal is to get you in now that it's a buyer's market. Let's see if we can have the seller pay for some or more or all of the closing costs. And when the interest rates drop, guess what's going to happen? I'm going to come to your home with your favorite beverage and your refinance papers. I'm going to lower your rate. I'm going to lower your payment. You're going to have one guaranteed payment. You get to keep and enjoy. And if I time it right, we'll have two and an escrow refund. And everybody else, now that same property you bought 7 months ago should go up another 5 or 10% because now all the sellers are going to do is cross their arms, wait for the highest bid to come in. That's going to be good for you because now your property value is going to go up. Okay. So now let's see here. So common misconceptions about the VA home loan. Okay, I can only use my VA home loan once. Okay, so sometimes I'll have a veteran says, you know what, yeah, I used it back in the 80s. I don't think I can use it again. Not true. Okay, you can use it multiple times. You can actually have more than one VA home loan. So we do have some active service members that buy a home in Georgia. That's their primary residence. Now, keep in mind for your VA home loan, it cannot be an investment property. Okay, you cannot use a VA home loan for an investment. It's only for your owner-occupied property. But that's not to say that you don't have enough eligibility because we'll have a active service member that's stationed in Georgia and then they get sent to Camp Pendleton. Okay, or they'll get sent to Arizona. What they'll end up doing is renting that place out, okay, turning it into an investment. We'll go back to their certification of eligibility to see how much entitlement they have to purchase another home as long as it's owner occupied. So you can't have more than one VA home loan. VA home loans take longer to close. Not true. Okay, we have one of the best mortgage companies that are out there, one of the largest, UWM. They have a section of their facility that's dedicated to VA home loans. Okay, I mean I can show you. God, I've had 1 day approvals with the VA. Okay, with this company. Let me see if I can pull one of my. Let's see here. Um, Here's one right here. Same day approval. Okay, so that myth doesn't exist. I have to be a first time home buyer to qualify. You do not. Okay, you just got to make sure you have your eligibility. And again, even if you owned a home and it went into foreclosure, there's a formula that the VA will use to help you get in. Now, keep in mind, VA, it's really hard not to get a VA loan. Okay, and also um, they have strong buyer safety precautions. Okay, so in other words, if you're losing your home and they'll do everything that they can to help you keep the home. They'll do loan modifications, they'll do forbearances, they'll do everything that they can to help you out with that. See, I don't need a real estate agent for the VA home loans. I mean, you need to have these professionals, because it's you go out there, you don't know what you don't know, and you're swimming in circles because you don't know how to navigate this. He's a professional at what he does. I'm a professional at what I do. When one of my clients asked me a real estate question, I'm not going to answer it because it's not my field. I'll direct them to Leo. And Leo does the same thing. If they ask them,
Yeah, I was gonna say I'll do the same thing. If they ask me a
what's the
mortgage
rate?
qualifying question, hey, you got to talk to Steve.
Okay. Let's see. In the conclusion here, VA home loans are a powerful tool for veterans and active service members. And working with an experienced real estate agent who understands the program is crucial to maximizing the benefits of this unique home loan option. Call to action: if if you're eligible for a VA loan, start by finding a qualified real estate. I mean, you got the whole team right here. Um, Go ahead and hit that calendar, set an appointment. If you want to talk real estate, set an appointment with Leo. Um, you want to do the dry run. We'll bring that back to me, but we'll all work together. This is a very, very scary thing to do, but we will walk you through it. Okay. And do we do pre-approval? Yes, we do. That's part of the dry run. Once we get the dry run, after we do the dry run, you're gonna have an idea of what this looks like, April. Once that we're done with the dry run, it's a three-step process. First step is filling out the online application. Okay. So I'm going to give you some tools on how to do that. The second step is income qualifying. Okay, so I'm going to send you out a list of documents that I'm going to need, which would be driver's license, VA award letter if you're service connected, W-2s, pay stubs. And then the third step would be uploading the credit profile and getting that pre-approval. So once we upload the credit profile, we're going to go back to our dry run notes and we're going to compare. Now we're going to have more refined numbers. Okay, then we're going to tell you what you actually qualify for. Now keep in mind, what you qualify for and what you're comfortable with is two different animals. So I always tell my clients, fall in love with the payment before you fall in love with the house. Okay. Um, so yeah, and then once we get the pre-approval, then you have a conversation with Leo's about your wants, needs, and desires in a house, 3 bedrooms, backyard, condo, all that good stuff. I kind of stay on the sidelines. Okay, he has the baton. He's going to show you homes, you guys. That's going to be the fun part. You guys go, you see homes. He'll be sending you homes. You look at them. You say, okay, you know what? I want to see. I want to see this home. You set up an appointment. You go. You touch. You feel. You start visualizing where you're going to put stuff. We're going to speak in the direction that we want to go in. Okay, I want this neighborhood. And once you want to put an offer in, then you go to the negotiation table. That's where Leo will take care of that. And then once an offer is accepted, then the baton gets passed back to me. Okay. Now keep in mind, if it takes maybe 1 or 2 months, I'm still contacting you because remember, I have my communication guarantee with you. We're tapping you on the shoulders. I have Barbara. She's my assistant. She's on the line here as well. And we'll be in contact with you, tapping you guys on the shoulder, letting you guys know you guys have any questions. I'll update you on the market and on how the interest rates are going. Okay. So yeah, so set that up. And now, questions and additional resources. Now, what we're going to do is we're going to open the floor for the audience questions. Okay, we have resources and we have a bunch of things. I have actually a special gift for you after this. Does anybody have any questions so far? I hope this information was helpful for you guys. Okay, if we don't have any questions, I need you guys. Oh, what? Before we do this, are there programs for duplex construction? Now, is that question for? Um, let's see here, for a duplex that's under construction, or just a duplex in general? Because duplex, for with the VA loan, you can go up to 4 units. Okay, so duplex construction. land buy VA loan. They did come up with one, okay, before UWM came up with that program. It's a lengthy process. We'll get it done. But when you're dealing with land, you'd have to buy the land cash. Then we got to do a construction loan. Then after the construction loan, you can refinance it onto a VA loan. Okay, but UWM just came up with a construction loan. Okay, so keep in mind with your VA benefits, it's not just for single family with an ADU, single family with a duplex, single family with a triplex, single family with a quadplex. How you say it? So what you
Oh,
can,
I was on mute. I was gonna say a
yeah,
fourplex.
fourplex, yeah. So what you can do, when it gets past 3 units, you have to have property management experience. Okay, but for 2 units, I think it's up to 2 units, up to 3 units, you can actually live in one, and we can use, I believe, 75 to 100% of the rent to qualify. So you can actually have the tenant pay for the majority of your debt. Okay, so hope that answers your question. So what I need you guys to do now, this is gonna be cool for you guys. Now we made this tool for you guys, okay? So I need you guys to bring out your phone, okay? And I need you to scan the barcode, okay? So what this is the VA Educator app. This application literally has every answer to any question a veteran or active service member and even realtors might have about the VA home loan benefit. Okay. So if you upload it, it's going to look like this. Okay. There's tons and tons of videos on here. Why is it called the VA loan? Can I buy with a civilian? Going through a divorce. There's a video on that. It's a lot of information. It's the Netflix of questions and answers when it comes to VA home loans benefits. Okay. So you don't have to click on all of them. Just click on the ones that talk to you. There's also, if you scroll down, there's an apply button there. So you can apply there as well. Okay. And now, when we're dealing with condos, okay, um, not all condos are FHA or VA approved. Okay, so if you're a civilian and you have an FHA loan, the condo has to be FHA approved. Okay, and it's kind of a headache for a realtor to go and figure that out. They have to do some research on it. If the listing agent doesn't know that it is, they got to somehow figure that
Yeah.
out. So
Yeah,
this,
it's honestly not that hard, but yeah, a lot of people don't know. We go to the HUD website and there's a list, and we got to find out the condo community HOA name. Then we got to look through the database, and it's like a 3 or 4 step process, and a lot of people don't know how to do it. Luckily, I do. So, but that's for FHA. But we're not talking about FHA.
so
And I
for
love what Steven's about to bring up.
Yeah, and this is really cool. So the VA on this right here, if you look at this, if you guys download it, on the lower right-hand corner, it says the VA approved condos. You click on that. We're going to put, just for time's sake here, we're going to put 91710. Okay, that's in Chino, California. Okay, so if we put it on there and we put get VA approved condos, now all a list of the condo associations are going to come up there. Then when you click on it, it gives you a bird's eye view of all the condos that are VA approved in townhomes. Okay. So it's a very, very wonderful tool to have. And this is just something where you guys are on your phone, you scroll through it, tap, and they're not cheesy videos. We spend a lot of money to make sure that this is legit for you guys. It's the really cool quality videos. Okay. So lastly, this is my information and Leo's information. If you guys have any questions, again, you got the calendar. If you guys, in about a week or two, you guys want to just give me a call, you have any questions, or you want to set up that dry run
Dry
appointment.
run.
Here's my phone
Yeah.
number right there, 626-642-6417, Stephen at patriotpacific.com. And we got Leo's information. You guys, I want to thank each and every one of you guys for hanging out. It's been a little bit over an hour. I can't get any of that time back, but I enjoyed every minute of it.
And then there is one question from Robert Baxter.
Okay.
One last question.
Will my children be able to use the benefits? Okay. So the VA loans are assumable, okay? They just made them assumable. It was just veteran to veteran. So, like for instance, if we have a veteran that's selling their home and they have a 2.25% interest rate, then another veteran can actually assume that 2.25. Now, when we do that, you have to get you have to get approved with their lender, but you got to come up with the difference between what they're selling the property for and what the balance is, and then you can assume that loan. Okay. Now the VA just made it assumable to family members. Okay, so if you have the home and you have a good interest rate and you want to have your kids assume that loan, they can assume that loan. The only kind of downside to that is it ties up your eligibility until they refinance.
Perfect. Awesome. Well, anything else you want to add, Stephen? It was very educational. I appreciate everyone
No,
coming
I
on
you know what
board. And
I just want to thank you guys because again, I do a lot of these events. I have my pop-up tent and I'll take my realtor with me and we'll talk one-on-one. Like, we went to the Marine Corps birthday out at Bastards and Downey, and I'm talking to several veterans and active service member. And everything that I told you, I'm going one-on-one, and it's very exhausting. And to have the honor of coming and hanging out with you guys for an hour and giving you this information again, I'm hoping one tidbit of information changes somebody's life today. And I mean that from the bottom of my heart.
yeah, same here. And I appreciate everyone. We're just here for the education. We're trying to empower everyone. It's a great benefit to utilize, and unfortunately, not everyone knows about the power of this benefit. They only kind of hear about it. I do have to say about the app, it's a great tool. It is shareable, so once you download the app and you're among your other colleagues, you can actually click the share button on there, and they can use the QR code to download it for themselves. It'll give them all the information. No subscription. Steve actually took care of it. His company is probably one of the leading companies out there that advocates for veterans. I actually met Steven through the broker owner of the company, helping provide marketing for these seminars and these in-person classes, these webinars all over the nation. We've hosted events in Okinawa, we've hosted events in Jacksonville, South Carolina, uh, Texas, Burleson, San Antonio, Arlington, even Arizona. So we're always out there advocating, educating, and getting veterans into homes. So thank you for your time, and I appreciate every minute that you guys were here, just capturing those words, and definitely appreciate Stephen for taking time to share this information. And you can't find a better LO than Stephen. He really puts his heart into this as well.
Thank you.
No, thank you. Well,
All
you guys
right.
have a great rest of your night, and there will be a recording of this, and it'll be on my YouTube channel, which I didn't share, but we also email everyone this link to the replay. So stay tuned; it'll probably be out by tomorrow.
All right. You guys have a good evening.
Thank you. You too.
Bye bye.
Take care.